the only good thing that came out of it, from my perspective, the only spectacular thing that came out of the February blessing of 2018 that Kukjin had Hyungjin do was the name Book of Life blessing, because the term Book of Life, as a search term, led to this a very important speech where Father is telling members that they could have registered ever since the late 1990s, because registration is something that you could have done in Hundoke. So through the act of reading Father's words, we can connect with the nation. And he used the word registration around 50, 60 times in the speech, Book of Life Blessing. And as I read that speech, I realized that the problem with registration is the problem of man's freedom and 5% portion of responsibility. It's not the problem of Father's 95% portion of responsibility. And in that speech, Father was saying, you can't say I didn't make the nation. I made it back in the in the 90s. So he was talking about a declaration from around August of 97, I believe. And so Father had established a way for the children of God to transition into the nation. Over the years, when he talked about being a citizen, he talked about the protections of the American citizen and having a passport and this kind of thing. And it's a connection that each citizen has with the nation in such a way that the nation itself is a benefit, and that this connection to the nation is a benefit to the American. I mean, if he's abroad, his passport garners the same respect that the entire nation does, right? So this is about power and or authority that is recognized everywhere, okay, because of citizenship. So he talked about that, and these kinds of things. The other thing that Father talks about when he discusses registration, he is talking about the matter of births being registered and marriages being registered. So registration, the nation is already there, but the person can register. It seems that the person can register through a serious reading of Hundoke for whatever length of time. Anyway, you could read it. It's 2011. So if you search for Book of Life, a speech called Registering in the Book of Life, you can read it. It's in 2011. I'm sure you can find it online somewhere. Maybe I'll put a link in the description of this video. But anyway, so registration can occur, according to Father's words, through Hundoke. I remember Father saying, through Hundoke you can perfect yourself. Or registration can occur at an event, because Father said that you can register your entire tribe at the blessing that he was preparing. So if it's a matter of some realization or transformation or inner transformation of the believer, and God can't do it and Father can't do it, all we could say is that Father was trying to give us opportunities or opportunities or training experiences to help us, much like Morpheus and Neo. Morpheus can't make Neo walk through the door. He can't make Neo understand that he's the one, right? So he said to Neo, I can show you the door, but you have to walk through it, And so yeah, registration is on us. Registration is not on Father. And even though he could even give us cards, he could give us citizenship cards to make us feel like, for it to occur to us, duh, you are, as far as Father is concerned, you are a citizen of the nation that he built, right? I don't think it would be this hard for the children of Adam if Adam hadn't fallen, because it's obvious that the nation exists, and it's obvious that they were born into it, right? Each subsequent generation, it would be obvious that they were born into the reality that they live in. The nation would be the reality, okay? And he also said God would be the reality. But anyway, as I approached the February blessing, I was backing off because okay, if you went through training in the church, okay, and I went through about a little over 2 years of fundraising, right? couldn't avoid it because I just didn't have the nerve to defy my central figures completely. I had only been in the church for 3 months when I started fundraising, even though Father said the restoration was over. Here I am doing this restoration activity. So I did it for about 2.5 years. And one of the things that I did learn was that if you judge people, you may have to, it's good to have experienced what you're talking about, because you may have to go and get that experience. So, it was one of those spiritual things where, you judge your customers and then God's put you through some kind of experience of what they're going through. But basically, I didn't want to go because of that principle. Hyungjin could very easily repeat what he said was wrong with Hak Jahan's Foundation Day blessing. Why? Because he judged her so hard. I never got the sense that there was the pause that comes when you know that you might incur someone's indemnity after you because of judging them. I never got the sense that he had that pause in him, the pause that me and my friends had developed after being in the van for a while. You're real careful about judging people because you want to make sure you have like enough of the condition and or conviction, but it's important to have the condition to know clearly what you're talking about and know clearly how difficult it is for the person to do the thing that you're wanting him to do, or wishing he would do, or wishing he would have done. So if you're going to criticize people, you do it respectfully, because that person's going through their hardships. Well, same with Hak Jahan. Hak Jahan is going through her level of awareness, surrounded by her level of people around her. And that's enough. So she has her situation. So I was looking at the parallels. I was like saying, okay, Satan also, if he got a victory, he tends to want to use the same trickology in order to reestablish the same situation, because he was victorious before. If he destroyed Foundation Day before, okay, wouldn't he try to do it again? Why would he let it just be victorious this time without whipping out the same machinery that he used against Hak Jahan? So anyway, we were saying in 2015 that Hak Jahan had raised herself up to a level where she was empress and she was all powerful. Well, the month of January, I just heard Hyungjin order me as if he had all power, right? So I'm saying that's a parallel. And then she did the odd shoe blessing, so she changed the tradition to that degree, and the word. So she was changing the word, and Hyungjin was saying that rod of iron meant something else, right? It didn't mean the word of God. It meant, gun or something, right? So he's playing games with the word. He's being pushed by his inner circle to see himself as the embodiment of True Father in every way. And so those are the parallels. So I was wary. So then he comes out with this, through Tim Elder, he comes out with this idea that, okay, so Tim Elder represents this problem. Tim Elder is there. He's not divided. Hyungjin didn't divide him or correct him. They chased away anybody who felt like correcting Tim Elder. Tim Elder is faithless because he doesn't see the kingdom. He doesn't see the kingdom. Okay, so this guy being tasked to tell everybody what the perfection stage is going to be like, that's just ridiculous, because this guy really botched it. Now, I heard from one of Hyungjin's family members that Hyungjin was the one who drafted up these different levels of the blessing, that in the perfection stage you have different levels of the blessing, where on one level, formation stage, you get the blessing ceremony. On another level, you have a AR-15 assault rifle, and on the top level of the blessing, you have a piece of property that you don't pay any taxes on. Now, why are they doing this? Because they're actually in the formation stage. That's why. They're actually looking at the kingdom from the formation stage eyes. The way you see things on the formation stage is quite literal, and that's why it's called justification based on deeds. It's justification based on tangibles. So if you procure this gun, if you procure this land, then you are justified. Well, the perfection stage is not a matter of justification based on deeds. So anyway, I want to talk to you about this different levels thing, because it was ridiculous. I had come out. I had kind of given up Facebook. I had been fighting Masako, who was very resentful. She was the lawyer in the court case. She didn't understand why I had to dump the court case. And I had a lot of appreciation, affection for her, for what she had done. I said I was going to take her out to a lobster dinner a seafood dinner, lobster dinner, because I couldn't repay her. But I'm arguing with her online at this time because she wants to say that I left because I'm being irresponsible, and that's unfortunate. I feel that she also didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. Of course, Robert didn't. They just wanted to put on a platter this court case so that the king could be happy. Then that's the end of that for them. But that's about it with my online situation. But then this levels thing comes out. And I wrote some essay clarifying that the blessing should not be stratified. It is one thing. The blessing is it is what it is, and everybody got it equally. Always in the past, the same blessing that Father had is what he was giving to everybody else. The same level that look, you cannot have hierarchies within the realm of the blessing, and this is what they were doing. Like, we are in the same tier. 2003, Father said we are in the same level, adjacent to true parents couple. Okay, and that is there is no stratification in that realm. There's no stratification. So I am pretty sure that what they were cooking up was ignorant, and it's because Tim Elder has to have a rationale for why we all should think that we're not there yet. Now, I'll tell you why there's a difference, a barrier, and us and them, and two areas. It's faith. It's those who see that the kingdom is there. Let me explain the kingdom. Let me explain the kingdom. The kingdom is a place where people are not psychologically empty, emotionally empty. Okay, they are filled. Listen. It's very clear in Christianity. Many Moonies are not good Christians, so they don't even break it down this way. It's not your works that saves you, right? It is your love. In fact, I believe it was Paul who said, we love because he first loved us. Now, that has to do with emotionomics. It's a word I came up with, emotionomics. Or, emotional kinetics, right? So because Jesus collided into us and imparted his great love into us, we have this emotional momentum to collide into other people. We are made alive. Jesus said, I came that you may have life more abundantly, that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So Jesus gave us life. He animated us with love, with his love. When we perceive his love, we can go out and live in love, with love. We can actually go, okay, and then commit to one more act of love, even for the most difficult person. Okay, that means we are alive, filled with love. Okay, still giving out light, even in darkness, giving out light. Okay, so what would the world be like when people have more patience and are able to give out light? It would be a much better world. But God meant for us to be filled when we were completed through getting the blessing. You always see the 4-position foundation drawn at the top of the 3 stages of growth, because that signifies perfection. But that signifies the instance, the moment, the means by which God fills the couple, Adam and Eve, eternally with a sense of significance that they should be able to give out. It is because you have a righteous marriage and a righteous birth that you know that you're significant to God, to heaven, to the entire nation. And by upholding your righteous marriage, you are doing your part. Father said your duty. By keeping purity before marriage, you're doing your duty so that the nation doesn't crash down like it did in the garden, right? The burgeoning nation was destroyed by Adam and Eve sex act. So anyway, what is the kingdom? The kingdom is a place where God is everywhere, and all these people's ability to whip out like extra love seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, if you were a psychologist, you would just say that this guy's cup is half full. He's the opposite of a pessimist. Lack of love makes you the ultimate pessimist. So basically, you would have more optimists, and it's the realm of optimism. Okay, it's totally possible when you receive or perceive that you have been given all that could be given to you already. This is why Father says things like your spouse has the value of the cosmos. If you actually take that seriously, you could enter into a state of being okay already. Not like things are missing, right? So Father, when Father completed his course, he could declare that things like this realm exist, but the actualization of it depends on individual people's awakening to what it is that they received. Okay, and Tim Elder is not able to say whether or not other people receive this thing, right? I received it, and from my position, by talking to someone, I could hear that they received it or they didn't receive it. And that's why I don't think he received it, because he doesn't understand the nature of the power source of the nation. So, of course, if one, either he doesn't understand that the matter of being filled, like totally filled and never going back to being empty ever again, like that's the matter of the fundamental foundation of the nation, okay? And so the more we have people who received in conscious awareness, received what it is that Father has given us, the more we have the unfolding of the actualized nation. So you can't say the actualized nation doesn't exist, because you do have people who are conscious, who have, that's why I was telling Tim, wherever I walk, that's where Chano Guk is. Because I'm walking in the knowledge and the appreciation of what it is. The fact that I received the blessing and the fact that I received citizenship is not some vague opinion. It's fact to me. It's fact. And I'm not a beggar because of it. I'm not a beggar. I don't need Abel's approval. I already got the ultimate approval from God himself and his representative, the first father of mankind. So he doesn't understand those dynamics, because my guess is he didn't walk that way. Maybe he appreciates his wife, but he didn't measure that there's nothing more value. Okay, yeah, you got, let's say there's this most valuable car in the world, some kind of like $2 million Bentley. I give you this car. Until you go around the world and recognize that there is no more valuable car, you don't actually get the fact that I gave you the most valuable car. You could possess it and not realize that you got it. Anyway, I think Tim Elder has some sort of problem like this, but the problem also is that he inherently disrespects the free citizen who's going from faithlessness to faith in the value of their own blessing. The act of each person going from faithlessness to faith is the thing that this all hinges on. So human beings are to be very feared for being faithless, or very lauded for being faithful. That's our 5% portion of responsibility. This is the part of the kingdom that Father can't do. So if you look throughout all the, from the late 90s, Father is hung up on this issue of the nation because of the faith of people. And Father, in the Book of Life speech, is saying, you could have registered from the late 90s. Okay? Anyway, I didn't give that full breakdown in my essay. But Hyungjin came out. After a few of us, it seemed like there was 6 of us really trying to clean up this thing that Tim Elder had put out there. He unveiled this Levels blessing proposal when Hyungjin was traveling abroad. He had gone to Vegas, and he had gone to Vegas, and he had gone to Europe. So, you know, the Nazgul had put out this idea that the Levels blessing. The Nazgul really like levels because they like the idea of climbing a ladder and being above. But anyway, yeah, so he comes back, and, you know, he's acting like he does a 2-hour roast, or as one of my friends puts it, character assassination of me. Like me and the people, me leading this group of people. I didn't lead this group of people. I didn't confer with anyone when I wrote a criticism of the stratified blessing that Tim had put out there. But he's criticizing me. I still didn't watch that video. My friends, they were mortified. I mean, after Hyungjin ordered me, I'm just like, I'm not hearing it anymore. You know. I mean, he probably doesn't even know that he should say sorry to everyone that he gave quote unquote orders to, because he violated their portions of responsibility. And that's why I say people that have the "you are the Lord" problem, they overstep their mandate, and necessarily by overstepping their mandate, they have to encroach on other people's portions of responsibility. So I didn't listen to him anymore because he was violent. He was violent in that way. Violent means to violate, okay? That's what violence is, an act of violating, okay? So he was violent at that point. So to this day, I haven't listened to that 2-hour rant. To this day. Maybe one day I'll sit and watch it. Probably not. You know, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But he ranted against the guy who actually worked to set it right. He actually got rid of this stratification proposal. So that meant the guy criticizing him in an essay on Facebook, or the guy criticizing Tim Elder's project, because nobody took credit, actually. Nobody in that regime actually took credit, just like the United States Chano Guk Constitution. Nobody took credit for the Levels proposal. They got rid of it because it was wrong. But apparently he's more mad that I didn't do it the Asian way, the save-face way, which means behind closed doors, I pour out. You know what's the problem with the fucking save-face way? I go behind closed doors. You now have the entirety of my case. That's like me showing the enemy lawyer my entire case against you. Okay? I'm going to show your lawyer my case against you. I'm going to have my lawyer show your lawyer my entire case against you before anybody even knows you've been sued. So your lawyer usually is just going to modify his case or his reverse set of claims. Okay? So, I mean, that shit doesn't work. You just get to maintain, you know, look, if you don't really have a breakthrough, you just keep sloshing around the same level of faith or faithlessness. So by being shocked by a stark reality, you can't avoid that sometimes. And that doesn't gel with the Asian way of doing things. Okay? Like, if I could perceive that you're going on hard times and I don't help you avoid it, then I'm a bad friend in Asia. No, sometimes your friend is in the chorus of people saying, yeah, we can't endure this anymore. Okay, so, yeah, the Levels blessing is an insult to the blessing itself. It's an insult to the citizenry because all citizens are at the level of true parents. So says true parents, and so says the ideal. God has to afford every person the highest place. There can be no people with a lower place. The only people of a lower place are lower because of their immaturity and ignorance. They can't be entrusted with the sex organs. They cannot be the Lord yet. They cannot be the king yet. Because they don't understand the longevity of the problems or everything that flows out of the sex organ. Okay? The stuff that flows out of the sex organ endures. I'll give you an example there. You kill someone, you find out you're wrong because his loved ones come and kill you. Easy lesson. You steal something, somebody finds his stuff is missing and he comes, they come and get you. You put penis to vagina out in an illicit way. The emotional bankruptcy of that child because of broken family or lack of pedigree, spiritually, that kid, when he's 20 years old, starts having problems, and sometimes 25. This is actually sociological, psychological data, which based on experiments started in the 1970s because of the divorce culture. And after 20 years in the 1990s, this all came out. So this is not just spiritual truth. This is external truth. Like we want the balance of internal and external truth, right? That's what the introduction of the principle says, right? So the problem is the consequences don't come back to you so fast. They come back so slow that you don't even connect the originating act with its own consequences. That's why long 2 and 3 decade study on the effects of divorce. So we've got internal truth and external truth pointing at the same thing. So God needs people to hold marriage in order to protect the psychology of the next generation. It's one of the reasons why you keep your pledge. It's not just because she looks hot and her breasts are sagging now and she doesn't look so hot, so go get another younger chick. No, that woman is your child's mother. If your kids see you dishonor your child's mother, then they get all kinds of concepts about the value of woman and the value of sex and the value of love and the value of the origin of their very life. So, that is why there is no space between God and the blessed couple. And we are in that tier, hugging right next to God, right there in the garden, adjacent to true parents couple. Anyway, so I get ripped because casting this much fire on what they're doing is embarrassing. That's why I think the 2-hour rant is there. And if, you know, Hyungjin said something, some people told me, he said something in that 2-hour rant about me not spending time with him. Dude, if you really like me that much, don't blame me for the distance between you and me alone. You have telephone. You can use it. You know, you're damned by your high position in what you think is, you're damned. I mean, you think a person in your position shouldn't pick up the phone. Maybe you suffer from that. Or maybe you just don't like me, which I'm okay with because I have the most valuable thing. Your father actually buffered me from being, like, broken when that dude flash comes across the screen. So, but if if you wanted me in your dojo, I mean, normal people, I mean, look, you know I had the toenail fungus. My daughter gets ringworm off your mat the week after I try to join you, and I know I've got this terrible toenail fungus, right? So that's why I'm not in your, So he's ranting about me not hanging out with him. I'm like, dude, I can see from your side that you'd rather hang out with Lowell. For some reason you want to hang out and spend your time with Greg. I'm not broken up about that, but don't act like it's all on me that we don't hang out with each other. You don't signal me that you really want to spend time with me. I think you know that we should have spent some time together because there are topics that you can't get talked over with those guys. And when you talk over with them, they don't really know what they're talking about yet. They didn't really have authentic epiphanies. And so you get something doctored up because they'd rather give you something rather than nothing to retain the feeling that they're valuable to you. So anyway, that's what happened in February. They came out with this levels blessing, and I criticized it, as I should, as any citizen should, any woke citizen. And I don't mean woke in a secular sense. Anyone who had the revelation that they're the citizen. They did their 5%. They came into Chanoguk in faith. They should criticize it. But instead of criticizing himself, instead of even saying who wrote the damn levels memo, and then criticizing that person, he criticized the person who worked, who made effort to come back out the woodwork to clarify it. So that meant that your regime was going to go down a troublesome path, and nobody better stop you. And that was a parallel with the way Hak Ja Han took hold of the entire movement and added and abolished things, according to her will. And that's another parallel with Foundation Day 2013. She changed the requirements of the officiators. She was changing the truth, the essential truth. She changed the anthem. She did the odd shoe blessing. So what were you doing? You were changing the very essence of the tradition. You changed the word. And, the other thing she does, she raises herself up to some empress status, something that doesn't exist in the principle. And so did you. I mean, you're not father. You're not father. You're not the guy that gave birth to me. And next time I'll talk about the fact that as sweet as Miss Kong is, what's bound on earth is bound in heaven. She is not the person. Unfortunately, my real true mother may be out to lunch, but historically, when I came into realization and rebirth, it was Hak Ja Han that was there. So you can't erase that either. These are facts of history. I had later told you I was waiting to see if you would fall for the same bait that Hak Ja Han did, because Satan would be highly interested in bringing out the same bait, because if he's trying to destroy this thing called Foundation Day, and he was able to do it before, he would do it again. All right, talk to you guys later.